This movie doesn't need me to tell people how good it is, and YouTube didn't need another video calling it a masterpiece. But it really is. There's enough people talking about this movie that it doesn't need my help, and if you're one of the few that haven't seen it, what are you even doing? Also, spoilers ahead for The Batman. There's a lot of things I love about this movie, and the climax is one of the best I've seen this year. And it's my favorite of any superhero movie ever. Matt Reeves has been kicking around a long time, and if you don't know his name, you definitely know his work. I've been a fan of his since 2008 when I first saw Cloverfield, and Batman is my earliest memory of going to the movies, so my hopes going into this thing were really high. From the first 5 minutes, I was hooked. Watching the Riddler creep on that dude from across the street like Hannibal Lecter at the end of Silence of the Lambs, I was surprised that no other filmmaker has taken Batman in this direction. From the moment Riddler appeared behind the mayor, I knew this would be something special. The rain that never stopped, the sun that rarely shined, the lenses intentionally out of focus. This was the dirtiest Gotham I'd ever seen. One of my favorite things about this Batman is his relationship with the cops. They've seen the signal in the sky, they've heard the stories about him, and when he walks into the crime scene at the mayor's house, they're blown away by what they're seeing. This is a weird dude. Think about the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight. Really cool scene. Awesome Batman moment. But how did he get in there? We know the cops don't really trust him, but that takes some sort of cooperation for them to let him in, or for Gordon to sneak him in. Either scene would spoil the reveal of him behind the Joker, so I get why it played the way it did, but it was still nice to see him just walk into the crime scene. We know he's only 2 years into his crime-fighting career, and there's no real indicators that he's ever dealt with someone like the Riddler before. The Penguin exists, the Joker exists, but this is the first time we ever get to see him on a case. This Batman is inexperienced, he's pissed, and it seems like he's only interested in beating people up. That fantastic car chase in the rain, it ends in a huge fireball that he rips through in my favorite on-screen Batmobile, and he hits Penguin so hard his Maserati does vertical donuts. Then he just walks up on it, like he doesn't even care if the Penguin survived, or if that fireball killed anybody. This Batman's out of control. This Batman isn't a hero. They don't even call him Batman for most of the movie. They call him Vengeance. I didn't think anything of this until my third viewing, but I think it's because he hasn't earned it yet. This movie is a monster. There are so many scenes that snuck up on me, and there's actually a lot of moments that are really funny in a way that wasn't immediately obvious to me. Like the scene in Riddler's apartment where Batman and Officer Mustache solve the last riddle. Every time we see this dude, he has something to say. So when he catches Batman scratching around the crime scene and tells him you can't be in here, Batman just stares at him. It's like Batman's annoyed. As if to say, like, how many times are we going to do this, dude? And when he finally says something useful, Batman commands him to speak by just pointing his flashlight at him.
Hey man, I don't think that you should be touching that. Boy, this guy's a real nut job, huh? Killing Mitchell with a friggin' carpet tool. Oh, my uncle's a...
Or that scene at the end in Arkham when Riddler's crying in his cell like Batman stole all of his lunch money. Jeffrey Wright, Colin Farrell, Peter Sarsgaard, those dudes are always great. Paul Dano was a surprise, though. Not that he's not talented, but I've only ever seen him play non-threatening wiener types, like in Cowboys and Aliens or There Will Be Blood. Like the type of dude that says, "Do you know who my dad is?" The scene at the funeral where he blew Coulson's head off ruined me. I was hoping for more of a mystery, just because of the whole detective thing, but I understand why it went the way it went. There wasn't a lot of room for a whodunit in this thing. From the police station to the thing with Selina at the Bad Signal and then at the iceberg to Arkham and 2 trips to Riddler's apartment, the last act has a lot going on. The climax. Sweet baby Jeebus, watching Batman crash through the ceiling of the arena and going full tilt vengeance was worth the wait. Also, the music. I can't say enough good things about Michael Giacchino. If you're a fan of his, you know what I'm talking about. It was cool to see that Gordon and Selina weren't just wallflowers during the ruckus, because as capable as Batman is, there's no way he could have done this alone. When Catwoman saved Batman from a double-barreled blast in the face, it reminded me of that scene in Batman Returns where she licked Batman's mouth. It was cool to see that he trusted her enough to let his guard down and take a rest, but then he has to take an adrenaline shot because he didn't want to come back from his lunch break and beat up one more dude. So he saved the new mayor and beat up an entire subreddit. Case closed. Everybody go home, right? But oh no, all the people he just saved are about to be electrocuted in a pool of ocean water that flooded the city. So he whips out his grappling hook and goes back to work. And then it happened. The moment I didn't know I needed. It's the kind of scene they save for Superman. He spends the whole movie running around like a jaded cop, but this scene is what makes Batman a superhero. This scene completes his arc. This is the lesson he was meant to learn. Thanks for watching.